Welcome back for another video. Sorry for the later than usual upload today. It's actually been an incredible day. Basically, I made my TV debut on the FPL show in their studio earlier, so I'll post a slightly longer short here later if you're interested in watching the highlights and behind the scenes. It was really fun, and I even got to hang out with Cielo, who was recording another show. It's going to be on the Premier League's YouTube channel as well, if you'd like to watch the full episode with myself and Harry in it. So anyway, let's get into this week's video. What's the best wildcard team? Who are the experts buying and selling outside of the wildcarders? Which assistant manager should we buy? Let's get into it. So starting off with our traditional manager highlight, it's Lee Jackson, who's 1.5k in the world after a small red arrow, having scored 47 points on his wildcard last game week. Very unfortunate really, like a lot of us, with Gabriel to deal with now, who's out for the rest of the season and needs hamstring surgery. There's 7 other experts in the top 5k alone with Lee, so it's really tight at the top, and there's loads more in the top 10k and even more in the top 50k. So what's their transfer activity looking like this week? We saw a huge chunk of the experts pressed into wildcarding due to many injuries and some late news like Cliver, which has led to 52% rolling this week, 28% is spending 1 transfer, no one is making more than 2 transfers at Gameweek 31. However, a whopping 20% have got the wildcard active this week. I think the most popular chip strategy right now is to wildcard in Gameweek 30 last week or 31 this week, bench boost Gameweek 32 or 33, and then free hit 34. Obviously, we've all got different combinations of chips, and for others, it's all about the assistant manager this week, and in fairness, it's an unbelievably good week to use it. If you've got both the assistant manager and the bench boost, then you're going to have to make a judgment call whether you buy a manager. And is it worth losing a Newcastle spot for Howe or a Palace spot for Glasner? And then if so, you could look to bench boost in Game Week 36, which is expected to be a small double game week for those that reach the FA Cup final, and of course the opponent they would have faced in Game Week 37. So let's break it down. Who are the experts buying and selling this week then? In fact, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I still read every comment, and I know some of you have asked what actually is an FPL expert. And I will concede, it is a bit of a buzzword, and I couldn't think of a better name for the series when I started it years ago. But as a reminder, their combined rank histories is 1 FPL champion that's won the entire thing, 5 finishes top 100 in the world, 49 top 1000 finishes, and 409 top 10,000 finishes. So if you ask me, that more than validates their experience in playing the game. And I do also set rank requirements to even request to join the series. It's the greatest set of data rank history wise in FPL history. The massive hurdle that I've had with this series is you want to know exactly what they're doing before the deadline. I could easily tell you what the top 100 best all-time managers did after the deadline, but that's useless when you can't actually act on the information. So that's the value of this series, and yeah, hopefully you can consider these experts. Anyway, here's the list then. So yeah, given the Gabriel injury, it's Saliba that shot up to the top spot, 27% buying him. You can make the case that Arsenal's defence is going to suffer without Gabriel. It's an absolutely world-class partnership, so yeah, what's it going to look like without him at the back? Arsenal have played 25 games without Gabriel. They only won 11 of those, they've drawn 6 and lost 8, so a 44% win rate there. Whereas with Gabriel, that number climbs to 64% win rate. Ultimately, wins, draws and losses don't matter much for FPL, or besides the assistant manager anyway. They've conceded just 0.2 goals more per game without Gabriel, which isn't significant, so potentially still plenty of clean sheet potential in there. Kivior's a great backup as well, in fairness. And obviously Arteta, he could opt for Timber centre back and White centre back, which is still very good. The other thing is, we're not really spoiled of Arsenal mids like we have been in past seasons. Martinelli, Trossard, Waneri, Odegaard, none of them look that tempting. Marino is the one that could be a candidate, real differential there. I have to shout out Super Valued as well, who comments every video about Marino, so I'm sure he's glad he finally got a mention. Arsenal's fixtures: Everton away, Brentford home, and then it's a double game week of Ipswich away and Palace home, so it's a nice run. I think the more logical choice is Raya and Saliba. The other defenders do look a bit iffy, especially when Arsenal have got Champions League legs against Real Madrid to juggle. So Saka is the second top transfer, 15% buying, and then it's Raya and Vardy with 14% buying. In honesty, it is a list here that's pretty predictable. It's loaded up with double game week 32 and 33 players. The only exceptions I can see being Areola and Salah. Areola's going to be there for bench boost purposes. He does at least have Southampton home in Gameweek 33. He's only 4.2 mil. Cliver and Bumo and Kukurea are the most sold players this week after Gabriel. 5% are selling Wood, who might be someone that we still go back to for the run-in. Like Forest, they're in a breathtaking position. They're third in the table, right? And the remaining fixtures are really nice as well. It's just green and grey fixtures on the FDR, including Everton, Brentford and Leicester home. Will we see Forest in the Champions League next season? So it's a big week for chips. 20% have activated their wildcard, and we've actually got 6% that have activated the assistant manager chip. So you know how we do it around here. We like to get insight into their teams and strategy. Andrew Debenham's one of those that's got his wildcard active. His team is Raya, Verbruggen, Vardy or Byrne, Munoz, Konsa, Milenkovic, Salah, Saka, Sarr, Gordon, Savinho, Marmish, Mateta and Isak. Here's what he had to say. The intention is to bench boost in Gameweek 32, so I don't need to deal with all my Newcastle players in Gameweek 33. There's some great single fixtures in Gameweek 32. Is Leicester at home basically a double game week in disguise? Sorry Foxes fans. I've gone for Raya in goal simply because he's Arsenal defensive coverage who's not injured. There, I've jinxed that. And Verbruggen's got Leicester in Gameweek 32. He can also cover Raya in Gameweek 36 when Arsenal away to Liverpool. In defence, Munoz and Vardy will pick themselves. Byrne and Milenkovic provide set piece threat, with the latter covering Gameweek 36 nicely. Yes, he has Leicester then. Konsa is cheap and the most secure Villa defensive starter. In midfield, Salah and Saka require no explanation. Savinho and Sarr are great value and obviously doubling Gameweek 33. The last spot is likely to be Gordon. That's as long as Howe confirms he's fit and available. Well, we can dream, otherwise I might opt for Jacob Murphy. Up front, it's the same three many have gone for, Marmish, Isak, and boom boom ain't no striker better, Jean-Philippe Mateta. I currently have 1.5 million still in the bank, with the plan to bring in an Arsenal differential midfielder for Gordon in Gameweek 33. Would rather have an extra Arsenal midfielder in the double for the upside rather than a defender. Good luck everyone. And on a very different chip strategy, David's gone with the assistant manager this week. His team is Raya, Livramento, Vardy or Byrne, Saka, Sarr, Foden, Salah, Marmish, Mateta and Isak. Here's what he had to say. I decided not to use the assistant manager chip back in Game Week 24 when the Everton vs Liverpool double game week was rearranged at short notice, as I was already committed to a plan and in the end triple captained Salah for his big haul that week. I've had an eye on playing the assistant manager chip this week since the Newcastle vs Crystal Palace fixture was rearranged to Game Week 32 and the likelihood of other rescheduled fixtures going into Game Week 33 to provide double game weeks. The alternative I planned would have been to bench boost Game Week 33 and then play the assistant manager in Game Week 36. I made the decision after the FA Cup results and using planning guru Ben Credin's predictions around likely fixtures going into Game Week 33 to create the double-double. My main logic for this was there's higher potential point ceiling with the assistant manager chip than the bench boost. I therefore wildcarded last week, gambling a little on the fixtures falling as predicted, which they have, to give me a 3-week run now covering Game Week 32 and Game Week 33, ending in time for me to free hit and blank Game Week 34. I'm trying to keep my decision making process as simple as possible around which manager to choose from, and whilst there's several good teams at double game week, my approach is to chase the upside of a potential table bonus, and therefore Glasner is the choice that I'm intending to go for in Game Week 32 and 33, as this has the highest potential upside. I am conscious that there is significant risk, however they are playing 3 top teams away from home during this run. My alternative approach would be to target Arteta as a safer, more guaranteed route to points without the table bonus opportunity. With the injury to Gabriel, I'll have Arsenal space and money available to fill, which I not thought would be the case last week prior to injury. I intend to be brave and go with Glasner and hope to get the benefits that others did in Game Week 26. This week is a more difficult decision as there's no table bonus for Glasner and a tricky derby match against Brighton. Therefore, I plan to roll the dice on a 1-week punt as manager. Using Rob T's assistant manager projections, he has Potter top for the game week with a table bonus against Bournemouth. Bournemouth have dropped down the form league over recent weeks and have Cliver out injured also. West Ham can be mixed, but they do have home advantages also this week. A draw in a table bonus game is only a point less than a win for a non-table game, so again it feels like it's worth taking a chance, and that's why I'm going to do that this week. I'm definitely buying a ticket to try and get lucky, and I'll be keeping fingers crossed for 3 weeks now. I hope it all works out for those taking chances also. Thanks very much for sending in to us, gents, and good luck with the chips. So, a quick look at captaincy next. It's actually really divided this week. It's Isak top with 54%, and then it's Salah 44%, and then Marmoush and Palmer with one captaincy each. Isak, of course, flagged currently with a possible groin injury. Doesn't sound serious, but will he start? Howell said the following most recently in regards to Trippier as well. He said, "We'll wait and see today. I will see them for the first time today. We don't think we have any big injuries from Wednesday night, but we had a few niggles. If he starts, then he just might be the best captain, but it is a risk though." Let us know in the comments, Isak, Salah or someone else for captaincy. FPL projections don't have Isak on the list because of that flag. It's actually Solanke very slightly top here, given he does have Southampton home. Palmer, Son and Salah incredibly close behind though, to the point that the difference here is basically noise in the data and not a proper ranking. And then further down the list it's Mbeumo and Marmoush. So with wildcards flying last week and this week, what's the experts team looking like? Loads of changes to the team as expected. The team is Raya, Saliba, Munoz, Livramento, Sarr, Murphy, Palmer, Salah, Mateta, Marmoush and Isak. And on the bench it's Areola, Vardiel, Rogers and Konsa. So we've got 6 doublers here in 32, plus a further 9 for Gameweek 33 currently. Palmer and Saka are obviously going to swap in Gameweek 33 undoubtedly. Plus we might see a Newcastle player or two swap out for more doublers, given there is room here for one more Man City, one more Villa asset. How many players have you got from the experts team starting 11? Let's move on to the experts' final thoughts and tips. Here's what they had to say. Ben Coleman says, "I'm on my wildcard this week and I'm looking to triple up on Palace, Newcastle, Man City and Arsenal to make the most out of the double game weeks 32 and 33. I'll probably bench boost in 32 and then free hit in 34. After that, I won't have any chips left, so I need to roll a few transfers to prepare for double game week 36 and blank game week 37 once we know what the fixtures will be." Stuart Brandt says, "Plan is to roll, although Foden's looking like a problem going forward, added to Gabriel out for the season." FPL Fish says, "I spent hours and hours tinkering with the wildcard and chip strategies to get a red arrow. Oh well, at least the next deadline is a quick turnaround." FPL Obsessed Family says, "Following a late Game Week 30 wildcard, the plan is to roll for more information despite several flag players. Attacking Leicester for captaincy is the plan again, as long as Isak's fit." And lastly, Alex says, "Calamitous first game week post wildcard with injuries and blanks. I'm probably not going to read that one out, actually. Thank you everyone for watching as always. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do hit like if it was helpful. Make sure you subscribe. And we're going to be live as always for a deadline stream. See you then.